Welcome back, everyone, and I could not be happier right now because take that, Anders. We've got a different matchup coming up. I am super excited about that one. And to explain a little bit about why that's happening, we do have, of course, Caden from SK joining us here on the desk. Welcome, of course, congratulations to your win. Before we break down the game and everything else surrounding that, let's talk about that a little bit more. Why did you select this matchup on Mirage, TSM versus Renegades? I feel like that's not one most people expected.
Basically, our strategy was to pick the loser of Mouseballs and Renegades, because the normal thinking is that every time you get to pick, we probably are not going to get to pick a lot because we're not going to win that many games, but when you get to pick, you would pick the two strongest teams.
Right.
Because, then they'll fight against each other and one of the strong teams will lose a life. But when you're in our seat as an underdog, you kind of want to eliminate the team with the fewest lives. So therefore, since Renegades lost to Mouseballs, they're on 3. After this game, hopefully 2 lives.
Right.
So that's kind of the thinking.
I like it. I like it. Boost, playing the selfish game here as an underdog. You're just like, well, as long as we can go a couple of steps higher, that's better for us.
So there's another way I'd have a look at that. So the idea is, while you do get the 2 highest guys, you technically would play the lower guys. So therefore, you got $500 per win, which you've just got. You could get more wins. You said it yourself off air. It's like you think CLG, Renegades, you could beat these guys. So therefore, you're boosting your prize money that way.
Yeah, but I care more about pride than I care about prize money. So I'd rather get 3rd or 4th than getting 5th and then winning 2 games.
Well, that's a fair point. I mean, here's the other thing. At the same time, are you a little bit happy? I mean, you were saying like you want to give your homies a little bit of a chance here on TSM. Are you happy for them that statistically this should be an easier matchup for them going in?
I mean, it kind of also depended on the map. I mean, okay, now they played Cobblestone, but in case it was going to be Cobblestone, I would rather pick Envious against Renegades because TSM is fairly poor on that map. So since it was Mirage, it was kind of obvious for us that we were going to go for the TSM pick because they are, everyone knows that they're insanely strong, and that one Kerrigan holds middle is so strong with AWP, never gives away any entries and is roaming a lot. The A-hold of Dupree and Device, no one wants to go into that. And as a lot of other players are saying, Sipnix might be the best B-hold on Mirage. And yeah, Cajun B.
Did you not fancy maybe trying to put Mouse in there, seeing if you can knock a life off them?
I mean...
Or maybe they could have knocked a life off TSM. I mean, Mouse are pretty good on Mirage.
Yeah, they are. I have a hard time judging Mouse right now because in case they were in to choke in that final of APM Masters, or Predator Masters, whatever it's called, I would maybe do it because they looked so strong before the final, but the way they handled it in the end, I was kind of disappointed by them because everyone at the event was giving them so much respect because they played insanely well. Methodical, they didn't do like a lot of stupid things. Gob was calling on point, Nix and Chris J, deadly duo. Yeah, but I don't know, I just feel like this was the proper strategy and the team also came up with these ideas, so...
All right, well, sounds all exciting. Now let's talk, of course, we'll see that matchup play out in a little bit. Now we've played through the full rotation once of all the teams. Let's talk about your match a little bit. Again, you're coming off of a win. We didn't explain this fully to our audience, but again, every time you win, you get an extra $500 onto the prize pool. So that's pretty sweet. Coming in, we were talking about it a little bit. CLG, not a team known to have played a lot of matches on Overpass. Was that just a natural confidence boost going in? At the same time, again, did it scare you a little bit when they started really gearing up for that comeback?
I mean, we knew that Overpass was a good map to play against CLG with, but for us it's not a good map like against any of the other teams in the tournament. So, I mean, for us it was kind of 50-50. Some might say that it was really good for us to play this map and very bad for CLG. And when they applied pressure to us, we made some small mistakes, but we kind of figured them out pretty fast. Like, we allowed them too easy map control in the later half of our CT, which allowed them to do these very heavy executes with 3 smokes and molotovs and stuff. So to try and deny that, we played a bit more aggressive on long A and tried to peek them off.
So what adjustments did you have to make? Obviously with Nico coming in, played a fantastic match in that last game, but obviously very different role to what Freeze would have played on Overpass.
Yeah, like how it is normally I'm an AWP player in every team I play. Now I play with SK, Freeze is the AWP. So I actually play the roles of Nico right now, but since Freeze is not here, I take his roles.
Right.
So we swapped around a bit, and yeah, Overpass was one of the only maps that we hadn't played. We actually played all of the other 6 maps, so it was kind of unlucky. But Nico is such a strong individual that it's absolutely crazy. Like, he's such a talented player.
And he even pulled the AWP out and still went. So you're a little bit worried now. You might be losing your AWP position too, Nico.
I mean, if he plays that well, I don't mind, to be honest. And to be completely honest, I really played a poor game individually. But as long as the team wins, I guess it's fine. I can prepare it for, or fix it for next game.
Yeah, it was definitely an exciting game to watch, and in the end, again, you guys got the win, and that's what matters. I mean, how did you view that game between SK and CLG?
For me, I feel like if CLG would have started CT, it could have been the other way around. It could have been reverse 16-12 to be honest. Yeah. Because it felt obvious watching it that there was not a lot of confidence from either team playing on T side. For you guys, it was mostly like you were playing as a 4-pack, and then you had Nico do something crazy and somehow snuck into B side without anyone noticing.
But that didn't make any sense. Like, we were doing a default. Barry told Nico, just play a bit passive in B. 20 seconds later in the round, I look at him, he's like, guys, I'm in B. And he's like sneaking around every corner to check them, and no one was there. We didn't know what was going on.
So, I mean, it felt like it could have been the other way around easily if CLG would have started CT.
And you could have looked at JDM's performance as well on the CT side. He was smashing you left and right around the... he got like 4K restrooms, and he was performing well, like you say. If it would have been the other side, if perhaps they would have got going a little quicker on the T side, and that was the biggest issue. Like, both teams a little lacking on the T side, mate.
And at the same time, it was also SK playing aggressively initially on CT side, really pushing Fountain and the birthday area, birthday party.
Whatever it's called. Balloons.
It's called balloons. There's a party going on there.
Oh, whatever. The balloons. That one, let's call them balloons. But really, just playing a lot aggressive, and CLG were they were just not ready for that. For whatever reason. That's really weird, because like a lot of teams do that. So you should actually spend a lot of nades, a lot of time taking over Fountain and the middle area, not just get caught off guard every single time. So it just felt like stupid to me.
I also kind of feel like when you have been a team for like a fairly long time, like CLG has, you should be prepared on all 7 maps, because it's giving you such a big advantage going into tournaments that you can, like, in another format, you can remove the best maps of your opponents. So to be this long in a team and have, like, as you say, making these mistakes kind of as a terrorist side, I feel like that's maybe not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they played it 5 times in 2015 says that they probably would have vetoed it away if they had had a chance.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is where we talked about it earlier. In this kind of tournament system, having that diverse map pool is going to be hugely advantageous going in, as every life is going to matter. Every win, of course, is going to matter for the prize pool, and also to get your standing a little bit higher. Now, is anyone else, though? Now, I'm a little curious, because you've been talking about how you view the system as an underdog coming in, but have you talked with any other teams? Like, is anyone else on the same idea of, all right, at this point, let's just knock out one of the other teams earlier?
A lot of people think that we have this teamwork with TSM and stuff, and basically on the stage, me and Kerrigan was trolling a bit. The 3 others that didn't understand, and Kerrigan was like, yeah, you pick number 4, and number 4, like, I was like, what do you mean? And then I realized, he's just trolling, to kind of make this game blue. But I actually didn't talk that much with the other teams about it yet, because it's so new, and you're also trying to just develop your own thinking. But maybe like later on in the tournament, when things gets really complicated, maybe we could take a talk with some of the teams.
Yeah, I don't think Renegade's going to talk to you anymore, mate.
I mean, I don't think
Australia.
But I want to go back to yourself personally. Obviously, you're fairly new to SK. You're back in a team. How is it for how is it for Cadian right now?
It's a trial for both parts. Like, we both know that individually we're probably strong enough to play with each other, but it's like, for me, I need to figure out if I can adapt to the role of playing rifle more, because I don't want to be a weakling in the team and drag anyone down. And when I've been playing the AWP for 3 years in my entire career, it's like really hard to adjust to this kind of system. But I feel like I'm bringing other things than fragging as well to the team. Some of my experience with calling and such. But so far things are going decent. I mean, I think it's gonna happen, but only time will tell.
And speaking of calling, obviously Berry now the in-game leader. How's that going? Obviously it's been another change. There's a lot of changes in SK.
Yeah, we're discussing quite a lot, to be honest, with like what strategies we should do and such. And sometimes someone is just saying, shut up and let's do this. And I don't know, we haven't really figured out the perfect balance of when Barry should make the calls and when others should. I kind of feel like our mid rounds is completely terrible at this moment. Like, no one is adjusting fast enough to what the idea is, and the ideas that is coming up is often completely wrong. We're not giving each other enough information about what the opponents has been doing, where they've been flashing, what areas have been taking. So, for that reason, we are still lacking a bit in that area, I think.
But a good point to make right now is from experience on different teams throughout times, as an in-game leader as well that I've been before, if there is a situation where you're discussing it, like who should make a call when, that's actually, for an in-game leader, that's gonna feel like, all right, people are not confident about what I'm saying.
They're questioning you.
So that's gonna really be a bad thing as someone that's actually gonna have to make most of the decisions. So what I would do is just have one person have all the power, and he's gonna say what's gonna happen, and you can just do that. And then after matches and before matches, have discussion of how we should do on certain situations and so forth.
And it's also it's the right way to think like that, but also like if he loses, you can give him like the blame, and if he wins, you can give him the credits. But you feel like you don't want to lose a game without giving your own influence. If you see like something, if you have a read or whatever. But sometimes, as Nato is saying, it gets too much, and you should just trust in his point of view.
Because you can always look back at it and think, well, why didn't I just say something? Why didn't I say that? I knew that at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a fine balance to walk, and again, that's kind of the balance you have to take, the outside of game factor for a team game.
Yeah, like a good example was the whole Sean Garrison, Semphis chemistry or non-chemistry, whatever you want to call it.
How it's changed.
Cloud 9, and now you see, he has everyone's trust, and he's doing a great job with it.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's, of course, hopefully you guys figure it out, something that works out better for you guys. It sounds like the discussion is there, so that's good to hear from you guys. And, of course, kicking this week off with a win is going to feel pretty awesome. I hope that brings up the chemistry and the environment
and
very
relieved
for you guys. Yeah, I mean, I was starting, especially in this tournament format, is this in some ways a little bit more nerve-wracking, like each game? Because it has a very different meaning than a group stage or a bracket stage,
right? It does, like, some way you feel more safe because you have 4 lives, and in other ways, if you are a team like us and you lose to TLG or Renegades, you know that TSM and Envious are waiting, and all of a sudden you're out of the tournament. So a win like this really gives us a relief, and also the motivation to work on and become stronger, because if we can beat them on a map that we didn't feel that confident on, who knows?
Well, I mean, every win you get is one step closer towards that end goal. At the end of the day, there is no big grand final. There is no big best of 5, best of 3. It's just like, who's got the lives left? And at the moment, you're still looking all right, mate.
You're looking good.
4 blocks after the first rotation. That's a good place to be. You're in the top half here for the 6 teams. That's going to feel pretty good. Now, we are about to go into the knife round for these 2 teams. Now, I'm just wondering, have you ever considered the fact, what happens if Renegades wins here? Are they going to be like, all right, that was funny, SK. Why don't you guys play against Envy? Like, how would you feel about that?
To be completely honest, if I should walk us through the opponents in the tournament, we knew that we could upset CLG. Renegades has been really strong in the tournaments that they've been playing, but we haven't seen them that much recently, so we kind of feel like maybe we could do something there as well. Envious, they're new, they could be overconfident, we could be insanely lucky. Most likely not like favorites at all or anything, but you never know when overconfidence strikes you and you'll then lift back with being behind 6-0, 7-0 against a team that you should win against.
That's true.
And TSM is a domestic matchup, and also we have this little guy called Nico, and you never know what he's gonna do. You never know.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you guys feel, pretty comfortable with where you are and how things might play out, just kind of letting it ride with the wind, and you're okay with that. That sounds like an exciting week for me, at least, to watch you guys play.
I mean, the biggest thing is obviously looking towards the next match, TSM versus Renegades. There's no doubt about it. Renegades just lost 16-2 to Mouseports, and now they're against TSM, which, rankings aside, many would consider them the top 2 in the world. I'm saying this as an ESL employee right now. There's no doubt about it. They are the current form, the last 3 months, probably one of the best teams in the world. They've beaten Fnatic many times, who many would put up the best team in the world because they've won 2 majors. So no doubt about it, they are incredibly strong, and now they're facing against Renegades. Renegades themselves probably a little down and out after their last performance. Probably a little upset about that.
From my point of view, the best scenario, which is not going to happen because TSM just won the knife round, they're probably going to start a CT lead.
Right, yeah.
Renegades getting up the CT side and just
They're trying to start on the right
just,
foot.
Yeah, destroy this TSM on the side. And, that'd be like, start out with a pistol, first weapon
get a
running,
strong lead.
Start rolling on that.
Just like we talked about overpass.
Yeah, now that there's RT, probably, we don't know yet. I think that's going to be, it's going to be hard.
Assume.
Well,
really hard.
Actually, an interesting question.
Yeah, Les.
I'm not on the analyst desk for a lot more, so I'm going to ask you, Natsu, since you're the coach of NIP, who started the trend about starting Terrace and Mirage in a game like this, how would you feel? What would you do? What would you advise NIP to do?
If we chose to start on T
Yeah,
side.
they decided to start on Terrace a lot on Mirage.
1
in
second.
Previous events.
We'll give you time to think about this. I mean, because the game is about to start, so we got to go over to the game, but we'll get back to the answer for that one. I think that's a great question. For now, we're going to go right into the first round between TSM and Renegades.
And it's time to see how TSM and Renegades shape up in this one. I mean, this is one of those matchups where you kind of have to question what kind of needs to happen, what needs to correlate for Renegades to take down the big dogs of TSM. What was that? As it's time then for the smoke from Sponge to be thrown out, and Device is the one to draw first blood.
I really need Renegades to win this round, otherwise it's going to be an uphill struggle if it isn't already. And Dupree there, good headshot onto Havoc. JKS takes one back, but it's not going to be enough. Dupree will pick up a second kill, and Sponge and Ace are going to be left, and I'm not sure if there's an easy way out of this one. 12 health left, he's got the bomb, but only for a second longer. And Renegades down now to a 1v4 that just turned into a 1v3. Still not looking too good here, Alex.
Yeah, and I mean, the first thing you have to remind yourself of is Renegades so far in this tournament really not having a chance to play too much. Of course, against Mouse on Dust 2, we saw it go 16-2. And again, Aza, or Azza, as I've been told to call him. I've been calling him AZR for far too long, but we'll go for Azza for now.
Azza, all right, I'm down.
Let's do it, Azza. Then, of course, JKS isn't Jux, it's JKS. So just to keep things confusing,
Well,
and, YAM. Okay.
I don't know. You can't say that, can you? Yeah, Azza makes a lot more sense.
And that French player who in-game leads for Envious, Numbuk.
Yeah. All right, let's try not to do that. Carrigan already in middle here, this time with a scout, but as Cadian was talking about, Carrigan in mid-Mirage with the AWP is terrifying. I don't know why, but that's just his comfort zone right there. And Dupree picking up a kill this round, although Havoc will return with a good shot there from the Tech-9, and they've got 3 of them still, and a Deagle on Yam, so there's some potential here for Renegades to do some damage.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, we kind of need to see momentum early for Renegades if they want a chance at this one. Which, I mean, Havoc's positioning does enable him to do, not when Carrigan's hitting shots like that, though, with the scout. Isn't going to be able to connect that one either. Device picks that one up, and Renegades, they haven't really managed to make too much of a dent. And look at that, just switching to the pistol to finish that one off. A solid second then for TSM as they are going to start as they mean to go on. No successful real pickups from Renegades in that second round, and I'm intrigued to see how much Renegades can do on T side against TSM, especially considering how little they could find against Mouse.
Yeah, I don't always like comparing results too much.
Right.
I mean, it's a different map, it's a different team, so Renegades might have a better chance. That wouldn't necessarily mean that Mouse Sports is then better than TSM. That's what sometimes referred to in the betting community as chain logic. So, yeah, got to be a bit careful. Dupree there takes a shot to the face, and then they try and swap a couple of weapons, which is a good idea. Carrigan obviously with a better chance of using that M4. So, pretty smart play there. I'd say, especially with the pistol round being 1 year for TSM, it means that Carrigan is very likely going to have an AWP soon in the middle, and things are going to go very bad, I think, for Renegades. This will be a struggle.
And most definitely, and this bullying from SK, forcing them up against TSM, is already starting well. 3-0 then, as we're going to be seeing the first rifles in the hands of Renegades. And it's going to be interesting to see where Sponge takes his merry men. Yam, of course, the new addition to Renegades. Intriguing to see this dynamic between him and Havoc, and seeing that sniper roll go over toward the hands of Yam.
Something I'm very curious about is how Dupree is going to be playing on the A-bomb site with regards to the A ramp. Because last time I saw him play, he was playing very aggressively towards the smoke on that ramp, and it was very hard to stop. You can see now he's just up on the balcony there. Carrigan going to miss the shot from short and ends up falling back. So mid control in favor of Renegades is a pretty good thing there, but a bit of a technical issue. I think Sponge being cut in the middle of the round, and that is no fun at all.
Absolutely, especially now he's going to be making calls without looking at the game, so real disadvantage. Oh my god, Caden's joined him. This is topsy-turvy, and Yam does find Dupree.
Well, I guess it somehow evens out, even though it's not
I guess
ideal.
we'll go with that.
Great shot from IEM, though, and now, if he can just wait this out, if Sipnix tries to sneak through, which he feels like he won't, this should still be a great round here for Renegades. Flashes go up. They even have a Molotov on IEM and another good trade there. If they can trade, they're going to be just fine with it. In fact, Carrigan and Sipnix are just going to walk out and try and save what they have. Wow. Great stuff here.
Yeah, and I mean, they got the opening pick, lost Cage and B as well, and just those two kind of, I'm going to call them entry losses. We'll go for that. Seeing that for Renegades, and actually looks like Azza's going to try and find something on the way out. Doesn't, and Sponge has joined us once again as well. So it doesn't look like we're going to be seeing too much of a timeout, but...
It was divine intervention, you know.
Yeah, both of them, it just decided for us that we didn't want to see too much from, was it Cage and B, and who else did we lose?
Sponge and Cajun,
Sponge,
I think, was
that's
the two
right, yeah.
who got disconnected. So
they're looking at it, because they've both got loss of money, of course. Sponge and Device. No, excuse me, Cage and B.
yeah, they're just going to figure out the economy, make sure that's working, and then we should probably get back into the game. Okay.
Or you want to get the game over with fast. Anyway, that's a little bit of a different discussion because we are into game, as you can see over on IEM's screen. So let's jump on back into the action. And Anders, why don't you take us into our 5th round?
Well, we've got Carrigan in the middle. Smoke is going to land, but it's just going to be short of the window, and that is a problem. Now he's got a clear view here, so Renegades not setting themselves up for an easy time, and there's Cajun helping out and taking down JKS. So I think Havoc was legged as well by Carrigan, so that's going to make things very tricky. Molotov not going to do too much. Carrigan making his way out, and that is going to be a fairly good start for TSM.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about mid-control. Again, Renegades try and seize control. And if your whole strategy is revolving around having the control of the middle area of Mirage, you need to land that smoke. Nice from Sponge, though, onto Dupree, but Device is right there to try and get the trade, and he does just that. So, 4 versus 3 made 4 versus 2, as Carrigan is going to find 2. What? Renegades just dropping. It's going to be Cage and B who wraps it all up, and Renegades going into that round with the same kind of game plan. This time, though, TSM making it look easy.
Yeah, and I don't know how we're going to track Device's improvement here, because he was already 6-1, so he's top fragging. Now he's still doing well. I mean, it's going to be hard for us to know if he's doing much better. Yeah. But yeah, maybe someone will help us out here. 4-1, and moving into the 6th round, there is no armor. There is the single flashbang on Azza, so I'm happy about that.
That's what we need. The Anders flashbang. That one extra flashbang is going to make the world of difference for Renegades. And you're not wrong at all, of course. It does enable you to just be able to try and get a couple of extra weapons in your hands, not having to go in flashless, I guess is a term I'm going to coin here.
It's just a question of, I mean, we've seen already how people can get caught with, you know, grenades in their hands when they shouldn't have, instead of weapons. Sometimes you get the right flashbang off and someone is going to be blind for a couple of seconds, and yeah, you can get some important kills. And it's only a $200 investment. I'm really trying to sell this, but I always cringe a little bit if teams don't do it, unless they have like a very, very specific reason for not doing it. Like those $200, they really need the next round or something. But usually that isn't the case. Yeah. This should be just an easy round for TSM, and one where they start to put in a pretty good economic foundation, because their economy is all right, but it's not like exploding yet.
Yeah, for sure. They're going to want to make this as kind of safe as possible. They don't want to be losing anyone. And I mean, you can see so far so good, managing to dispose of Havoc. And I mean, Sponge has been in Palace for an awful long time with that bomb. You can tell Renegades are just hungering for that plan, and it's not going to be given to them, as Device and Dupree, the double Ds, are going to be chiming in with 2 apiece. And it's going to be 5-1 then for TSM. Very solid start from them. I think it may very well be time for the Renegades boys to make some sort of economical decision. Maybe, just maybe, go for the Glock train. No, they aren't going to be going rifles. They do manage to get just a couple of Galils scraped together as well, as the call does get made. Full armor across the board, limited utility, and let's see what they're going to go for this time. Probably going to be avoiding middle somewhat, and I do already see a change of plan, as it's going to be 2 players towards B, probably going for actually early underpass.
Carrigan missing an opportunity there. He did have the right idea anyway. Renegades eventually do congregate in here, going to try for a bit of a boost. Carrigan actually sees it coming, and this could be devastating, I think. They do make the jump once. Are they going to try again? He's
so ready.
Yeah. I think they may have spotted him as well, because it seems like they want to try and change it up just a little bit. And they have got one player, that's JKS, playing over towards the ramp into the A-bomb site. They need 2 kills to enter here. I mean, this is essentially a 4-man stack towards A, leaving just Sipnix on B. That's, I mean, yeah, some of them are holding middle, but on this map, it's almost the same thing here. This is going to get tricky.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky. It's going to be Azo, tries to find one, actually manages to get it. Does take Device down, but quickly Carrigan responds. He doesn't need an AWP to make a damage, to make an impact rather. As back and forth we go, all onto Sponge and Havoc then. Make it just Sponge as Cajun B gets away with that one, gets away with murder. And now Sponge has 3 to find. And that bomb is under the stern boot of Cajun B. He's probably going to be peeking out there from Sandwich, and he does manage to make a meal of it, as it's going to be 6-1. And Renegades struggling really to get off that one round that they managed to acquire just 4 rounds in.
They actually managed to jump on Cajun's face somehow and still didn't get the kill. I'm not sure if they realized where he was, but that's going to be 6-1, and it's back to armor, or sorry, pistols no armor here on the Renegade side. That buy-up meant that they had no AWPs to counter Carrigan with, and also no Molotovs for any kind of afterplant or anything like that. I'm kind of split between wanting to credit Renegades for not respecting, for just treating TSM like any other team and saying, we want to try and see if we can make it back early, but at the same time, it is a big risk, and now they're running into Sipnix, and he's going to get a lot of action over here, looking for the last shot, and surely, no, it's going to be stolen by Cajun. The ace, not going to happen this time.
Yeah, I mean, Zipnix has just sent a message there saying, you want to come to B? You want to consider B? Here's a 4K for you. And let's see where then Renegades respond. Sponge going to be kind of struggling to make the calls here at this point, because he's tried the A, he's tried the slow A, the lingering play. Of course, most of these happening with like Tech 9s and limited economies, so it's very difficult to try and piece together an assault when you are kind of in the dirt. As we currently do see the Australians at. Look at this aggressive from TSM. That's 2 players aggressively pushing up towards Palace, seizing control and gathering a whole lot of intel. As this same 2-2 split, Azza and Havoc towards B, JKS and Yam through mid.
Yeah, and I love this. Being on Catwalk as well, going to boost over here. This might actually work out for Renegades if they get the timing down right. They've already spotted one person in there, and that's Sipnix with that AK.
Trying to get the jumping shot. Not going to happen, as Zipnix is just going to continue to slaughter over this site. Carrigan's there as well, and Zipnix is really making B his own. And oh my god, Carrigan was in front of his crosshair, and that's going to give JKS a double. Now all on to Sponge and the aforementioned JKS and Sponge. He is looking like a very successful lurk here. This could be a double. Doesn't choose to wait for it, as he worries about his teammate, and Device swings in for the trade out to bring that round to an end. Closest we've seen really from Renegades in a long time. Not enough though, as Zipnix and Carrigan managed to find 3 very early on, and a tactical pause then coming out from Renegades. Is it the same question that I asked you before over on Overpass? Is this too late for other pause? I mean, considering how they had that pause just 4 rounds in.
I don't know if it's too late. They are playing the terrorist side of Mirage, so I mean, if they get a good 6 or 7 rounds here, I think they'll be all right. So that's still definitely doable. Yeah, I don't mind this so much, but they're obviously in a very tricky position. They won't have money to buy unless they're going to go for basically AKs and no grenades at all, which is a pretty big risk.
Look at Sponge as well.
Yeah, he's not looking too excited, is he?
He's envisioning. He's got his eyes closed. He's actually got the entirety of Mirage on the inside of his eyelids, and he's just working it out from there.
This is the look that says, I thought my uni exam was next week and not tomorrow. You know, it's just like the pure
like,
pain.
Oh
pure pain.
my god.
Just something to touch on as well with TSM, and something that also shows that they're kind of merciless. Once you're up 7-1, which it is before winning this round, you know that the other team is going to be sort of scrambling to figure out what's going on. Like, they're obviously trying to compare all the rounds and say, where are they the weakest? Where have we been most successful? How do we work it all out? And as you're trying to do that, they switch it up and go double aggressive in apartments, which means you keep having to not just sort of try and put together all the rounds that's already played, but now you're also struggling with trying to adjust on the fly to something that you haven't seen in the previous 7 or 6 rounds. And that's very, very upsetting, obviously, when you're playing on the terrorist side and you're this far behind. So I hope TSM are going to keep doing that. They should try and switch up there without sort of making it completely chaotic, but try and change the style just a little bit here. It looks like Renegades are going to go for Tech 9, no armor, 4 smokes and a Molotov here to try and at least get the bomb down and maybe more. And again, TSM, because they didn't get caught doing it last time, no one was there to spot them, they're going to go double aggressive, and it works out just fine here. Cajun playing in shadows and taking down Sponge.
Yeah, it looks like just the 3 remaining Australians are going to try and make an impact, and they have already. I mean, Device down to 1 HP, but doesn't look like it's going to be anything to write home about, as it is going to be an easy pick up there for Carrigan as he snatches away 2 for himself. Cajun B doing exactly the same, and TSM looking very, very comfortable on this defensive side. Look at their economy. They're just buying things that they're treating themselves now to a fancy pistol as well, as it's going to be intriguing now to see what the AWP in the hands of Yam can do. Can he seize control for his team? Can he take Karrigan out of the equation? The answer is not going to be found just yet, as it's going to be Karrigan who's making his way towards Connector this time, try and mix things up a bit. He is supported by dupreeh, and he's going to find the frag. That's big then, as Yam turning up takes that mid control for his team, and now it comes down to how TSM respond.
Yeah, that was a very good shot there from Yam, and also reading Karrigan extremely well. He already took the shot, so it's sort of already announced that he had the sniper rifle in the middle, and realizing that if Karrigan is not in the window, well, maybe he's going to show up in the connector instead, and that's going to be just fine here. Yam now sneaking through, leading the charge with the AWP. He's going to walk right into Cajun, and this is going to be dangerous. dupreeh taking a shot, but there's Yam. Nice flick, taking down Cajun, and it's going to be a 4v3. He likes dupreeh as well. This is very well done indeed, and he's looking for a little bit more. JKS going to get a kill. Yam taking down Xyp9x. It's now a triple kill, and it's going to be around here for Renegades. 4v1, and dupreeh, last man is standing. Plenty of time as well here for the Australian team. What a round.
3 frags. Yam bam, thank you ma'am. He'll take that, as that's going to be the second for him, and now dupreeh's just going to be sitting there clutching onto the AWP of Karrigan, hoping that he can take that one away. 30 seconds on that clock, changed to 35 by that plan, and Havoc is going to answer us with a nice finish on towards dupreeh. So that's the second then, all because of Yam just breaking through. Real solid stuff from him. I mean, he took a huge risk going aggressive. He was the one at the forefront of the push and managed to clutch and claw that round home. So 2 on the board for Renegades. Still a whole long way if they want to make an impact.
And look at this, he actually gets the spawn towards A, so you can actually get here in time to cut someone off, but it looks like the player running up there, I think that was dupreeh, got there a little bit too soon. But if you get the right spawns, you can actually catch people as they make the crossing. So I like the fact that he's trying to utilize that, but Karrigan getting control of mid once again and taking down Havoc with a mid-air shot as well.
Yeah, so now it's Yam on the hunt. It's not something he's done too often. I mean, ramp has been held very comfortably by TSM. Let's see if he can change that. He's peeking the right angle. It's going to be Device who puts his body in front of the crosshair. And so we find ourselves in a 4v4, smoking out towards CT. He wants to try and force his team in. And again, it's Yam the one forging the play. He's the one that's making these sites vulnerable. And actually, Karrigan makes it difficult. That's a double then for the sniper in this round. And now all on to Sponge. He's not long for this world as he picks up a triple. And 10-2, double figures for TSM. And they're looking very, very cool and calm.
Yeah, and Karrigan almost got that third shot as well, which would have made it a quad kill for him. I think he legged him or shot him through the wall there. So 10-2, and things have spiraled utterly out of control here for Renegades. AWP is picked up on Yam. You can see there's no rifle on Sponge. They're just trying to see if they can make this work. And there's a double up. You can see he almost got the timing down this time to actually take out dupreeh. And now he's going to go for it. But in CT spawn, it's Device waiting with that AWP. And this time, Australian AWP not going to hit the shot.
Yeah, Device getting sweet, sweet revenge in the round after, of course, his tomfoolery in the prior round. And it looks like the 4 Ts now are going to be trying to find something on this site. JKS already brought slightly low from the Molotov. Device showing that he can use the AWP just as well, as he's going to be picking up his second. dupreeh with his double, and now Azza with very little time left in this round for himself, as he does get eliminated. I mean, 11-2. We said that a lot had to go right for Renegades to really bring TSM down. And the first kind of step was the pistol round. We didn't see that go their way. And ever since then, we've been really seeing a lot of struggling just in terms of fragging. The fragging capacity of Renegades just cannot compete with TSM. You look at the scoreboard, and the highest fragger we're currently seeing is Yam, where he's almost got half of his frags in one round alone.
Yeah, how do you deal with that? I mean, sure, sometimes strategies can sort of beat out, you know, fragging ability, but this is a gap that can't really be bridged, it seems. A nice shot for dupreeh. That was mid-air. Now going to fight with the pistol. He wants to get a couple more on the board here, and he will be successful with a triple kill, making it 12-2 and moving into the last round of the half here. And maybe one last chance for Renegades to make this work.
So 16-2 was the scoreline for Renegades up against Mouse Sports. Are we going to be seeing a kind of mimic of that, as they have managed to acquire those 2, looking to just beat their own record at this point? And it's all down to, you know, Cajun's decision. He's put them under the limelight. He's the one that's forcing them to play these games early. And again, Karrigan finds the opener. This time Yam now down and out, and we are going to be seeing Device follow suit. Back and forth we go, though, and that's good. Havoc and JKS have managed to keep it level, and that's something that Renegades really need to hold on to in this final round of our first half.
Yeah, 2v3. Very cool strat coming out here. Device is going to go down, and Cajun Last man alive in a 1v3. Bomb is going to go down any second now, and he shouldn't be able to clutch this. They don't have to fight him. All they have to do is wait for him to walk in and try and get that bomb down, but Asler's going to take him out, and that's going to be 12-3. Just a touch-up on what's happening here. Renegades actually sort of switched their style halfway through this round, but they had a really cool and a very common normal smoke that lands at the top or mid, which is just designed to help you sort of, you know, create a little bit of space, and maybe you can get behind the boxes in the middle through that smoke. But then they threw a second smoke that actually lands further towards the catwalk and the B bomb site, and you can actually run through both those smokes, and you will have almost no chance to spot those players from the CT side. So I think they wanted to try and sort of bait TSM into thinking that it was going to be like a really quick B push, and then they actually ended up, once they got the kills, they switched it out and went for the A site instead.
So that covers you entirely on your push through short?
Not entirely. If someone's playing connector and they're fast on connector, they'll be able to see you between the two smokes.
Right.
But if they're in window, yeah, you should be covered more or less. So, yeah, it's a great idea. I love that.
And talking of great ideas, TSM have just thrown caution to the wind and thrown their bodies through middle. Yam, 1 bullet, 1 kill, finds Cajun B's head. As it's going to be Zipnix then who responds. Again, Yam, that's 2 in a row. Can he find 3? This man seems to have found a great deal of form. He does! Yam is just turning up, and he's looking for the last one. Not going to happen as Zipnix picks up a double to keep Renegades on their toes. Picked up 3 in this round. I think Havoc has the drop on him to stop that plant. Very easy for him, as that's going to be a very crucial round for Renegades coming into that pistol. And again, off the back of Yam, real credit where it's due for the newest edition.
Yeah, those were some very sexy USP shots, weren't they? And I mean, at 12-4, it still doesn't seem very likely, but also denying the bomb plant at the end, meaning TSM are going to have to wait a little while before they actually start picking up rifles.
He really likes this USB. He wants to carry a go from there. Makes perfect sense, of course. No armor this time for TSM. And they've just gone for the P250s, a Deagle for Dupree, just to keep it interesting. And I think Yam has got a good read that there is going to be a heavy presence from TSM in mid for the 2nd round in a row. As backing away his investment of the FAMAS, the only assault rifle we're currently seeing for the CT side. They really like their SMGs, and it's a perfect call. They can make a whole lot of money. Not if KGB gets away with stuff like that, though. And it's a 4v4.
And that's frustrating. The timing couldn't possibly have been worse there. JKS still in that bomb site. I mean, yeah, 4v4, but TSM shouldn't be able to get much out of this round. I mean, they don't have any armor on that terrorist side. It should be fairly easy with the SMGs and that one FAMAS here to make it work. Looks like they're trying to sneak their way towards the B-bomb site, where Havoc is currently playing, and he's going to be at least able to spot out a couple of people here. Dupree been seen already. Molotov to force them out, but yeah. Wow, okay, Device with another 2 kills. This is turning it into a very expensive round for Renegades, and I'm a little bit disappointed in that. They should have been able to lock it down having those 2 people there.
I mean, you're disappointed. So are Renegades. The bomb goes down. They lose 3 players. They don't lose the FAMAS. Fortunately, Sponge got his eyes on that prize. But, I mean, it's a well-acquired 5th round, but they had a lot of opportunities to do that neat and tidily. When you see 4 SMGs against a completely unarmored T side, you expect that to go one way, and very clearly. It didn't, though. And a real solid play from Device with the P250.
I mean, if you have an AWP or maybe even an M4A4 and you're up against pistols like that, you could sometimes be forgiving for losing that fight just because you kind of have to stand still and shoot at people, and if they're really good and they're hitting a couple of headshots, maybe it's going to be rough, but SMGs, you could just run and shoot. They don't have armor, so you're probably going to win that fight most of the time, so that kind of means Renegades now have to really step it up here and get a clean round through where they don't lose too many people, and they had a chance to get a kill there. Yam not hitting it this time, but let's see if he can follow it up. He's going to get the first shot there on Dupree, and now TSM been slowed down, but they're trying to speed it up anyway here. Cajun and Carrigan picking up 1 kill each.
So, from here, where do they build? The building blocks are starting to fall, actually, though, as it's going to be on to Havoc and JKS. That K corrupting my vocabulary, but it's going to be an all onto JKS. And he has got absolutely no chance in hell. Bomb down, smoke covering off his angles. Hoping to take a couple of TSM members with him. Does find Zipnix. It's not even going to be a frag for him. Brought him down to just 1 point of health. But that does go the way of TSM. So that's 13 then on the board. Unlucky for some, but when it's 13-5, this should be going one way and one way only. The Danes looking to stay afloat with just 3 lives.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, if they had won that round and maybe created a bit of space for themselves, they need so much in the rest of this half here. It's hard to find a scenario where they could sort of realistically make it out. if they started winning a bunch of rounds and brought this back to 13-9, and then maybe they had an auto sniper in play or something like that, there was, it can happen, but this seems really far-fetched at the moment. And TSM, it was kind of predictable that it might end up this way, but when you see it, it's still a bit overpowering. The map here just favoring TSM so much, and yeah, the skill difference is just a little bit too large.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for Renegades, of course, and I think that's something that we'll probably hear from Sponge if you ever do interview him after this one, is he'll just say that him and his team are happy to be able to play against teams like this, especially running up to the major. Any opportunity they have to play against the best of the best, the real challenges that they're going to face over in Cologne in August, this is it, and it's really going to be something that they can look back on, see what went right, what went wrong, and they're probably going to come back from it saying, okay, we need to look at a lot of things on Mirage.
Look at this cheeky boost coming out.
I like that.
Yeah, there's nobody in... Well, there's someone in window, but they don't have rifle... Oh, an AWP to try and contest device with, but Sponge has that for Mars. Timing perfect. And Karrigan maybe not quite there. Flick gonna miss as well, and Sponge taking matters into his own hands, jumping out the window, Hollywood style, and Cajun is gonna go down. That was Yam with that shot from the FAMAS, and now it's up to Sipnix and Dupree, and they're not in a good position. Sipnix getting caught as well, and Sponge with the third kill. Great round from Renegades. That's what we need, and we need a lot more of it.
I think they just need to keep buying FAMASs. That's obviously the secret for Renegades, is screw the other rifles. P90 and FAMAS all the way. Let's see where they go then in this 21st round. TSM have been kind of keeping it pretty chill, and it does look like they're going to be trying something different here, looking for the full A execute. How quick can the call be made, and how well can Renegades deal with this with that buy? A P90, a FAMAS.
Well, Renegades have the worst possible setup to deal with this. If they execute right now, TSM, this is going to be a horrible end to this map, because JKS is going to be alone now. They are rotating in, but I don't think they're going to be quick enough. JKS goes down, and the smokes are up as well. It's Sponge dropping in. They just can't get in here. The smokes are blocking them off. They've already lost one. Acer at least gets a kill in return there onto Cajun, which is important, but this is the best scenario for TSM.
Yeah, they have just been locked out of this site from the smokes from TSM. A real kind of stop sign for the Australian side. They can't find a way in. Time, of course, of the essence with that bomb down. They're forced to make the move, and they're starting to pull something together. It's a 2v2. Gonna try and make it a 2v1, but it's not gonna happen. Device and Dupree, too seasoned. They're not gonna make mistakes like that, and we find ourselves at 15-6.
So you can't really blame Renegades for this round. What they were going to try and do is actually go very aggressive in the middle and try and take top, mid control, and then maybe even kill someone and then fall back quickly. And that's actually a very good idea. I actually think because they're so far behind, they have to take those kind of risks. They just pick the wrong round to do it in, but that's not really their fault. So yeah, I actually almost want to credit them with trying to be aggressive, trying to take charge of the game here. It just didn't work out. TSM had essentially the perfect counter for that round.
Yeah, and it has to be said that they had success in mid the round prior, and maybe that was something behind the decision to try and do it again. Wow, Zipnix too quick for Havoc, as that's going to be the catalyst. You can see that B site is about to be ripped apart by the Great Danes as they're charging on onto Yam though to do everything, and he finds a double. He's still alive, not for long though, as Device is there, and so now all onto JKS and Azza to keep Renegades in this game.
Nice headshot from Karrigan, but this is the end, ladies and gentlemen. It's 1v3 here for JKS. The bomb is down. He doesn't have a kit, he doesn't have any grenades, and yeah, not a lot he could do right now. So 16-6, definitely going to be the scoreline here. JKS going down to Karrigan, but the triple kill. I mean, it's hard really to say anything else except the fact that TSM, one of the best teams in the world on one of their best maps, and I mean, at least we got to see that Yam is a crazy good player, apparently.
Yeah, evidently. That was something that we saw a lot of interviews from the Renegades guys. Whenever you talk to them, they said Yam is a stronger individual than Top Gun. It's something that we kind of looked into. Very strong individual. It's just about getting that chemistry, because Top Gun was so big on keeping the team afloat when times were tough. Times were tough, Yam was finding frags. Really good to see that the new addition from Renegades is a smart move.
Yeah, so now the question is, how much trouble is Cadian in? He made this matchup happen. Oh, the Australian's going to be stabbing him later on. I think they're going to be a little bit bitter about that, but that's part of the the format of the tournament. That's what happens. I certainly wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, and I don't think any of us were. Let's see what the desk was thinking though, as we head back over to Chober and the gang.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Before we continue discussing again, once again, map vote is going on, so don't forget to go and vote. Not many maps left, actually, for the rest of the day, so make sure you choose carefully on what you want to see next. Of course, that could influence what two teams end up playing, too, in the next game.
Was it Cash Train and...
Inferno.
Inferno.
Yep. Yeah, so 3 maps left, 2 matches left. So we won't see one of the maps today. So maybe that'll influence your decisions a little bit. But as we're waiting to find out what the next matchup's going to be, I mean, all right, so end result-wise, I think that's what most people expected, right? TSM winning pretty single-handedly.
I mean, it's a little rough for Renegades because you look at the 2 results and you think, God, they've been spanked in the last 2 games. They've also played Mousesports on Dust 2, and now they've just played TSM on Mirage. So they're actually real strong maps for both teams. And poor old Renegades are coming along just thinking, God, can't catch a break here.
That's kind of the brutality of this system, right? Is that in this kind of system, you can get kind of screwed over in that.
But they need to make sure they have that in their own heads. I mean, I'm sure they will do because they're experienced guys. They need to like go home tonight. They can't play another match tonight. They need to be going home and go like, guys, look, we're down to 2 lives, but at the end of the day, we've been up against it. We've faced the top teams in this tournament. Yes, we've been picked apart, but we haven't gone on to our favorite maps, which ironically would be like Inferno or Cash or something like that.
Yeah, on that match, I mean, they tried everything. You could tell like they were trying to push on A, they tried to push on B, they tried to play the mid control, but just like Katie said before the match, TSM is pretty good on City side.
Carrigan in that window didn't let anyone past him.
No,
he was stopping them, no problem. And then everybody was so confident from TSM in that matchup. It showed. They were hitting every shot they wanted.
I mean, at this point for Renegades, do you think you just kind of have to settle for the silver linings and say, well, hey, listen, we clearly improved our score at least from our first game to the second one. Maybe in our next matchup we'll have a better choice. I mean, is that something they can even hope for? Because at this point, originally everyone was maybe expecting the whole NV-TSM thing to happen constantly, and then Cadian has just thrown a wrench in there and he's changed the name of the game to knock Renegades out.
I mean, I think it's what you said there, Damon, before. It's like they can't really go too hard on themselves. They had to really play Mouse on Dust 2, play TSM on Mirage. That's not a favorable matchup for you, or for any team for that.
Tomorrow they're going to get Envy on something else.
Inferno. Seriously. So, I mean, they've been the victim of the system to an extent.
They have been.
Which actually we thought the top teams would be, but it turns out the bottom teams are turning on each other. It's like a dog-eat-dog world out there.
Yeah, pretty much. Cadian just said, hey, listen, I mean, MV and TSM, they're going to probably last until the end anyway. Let's try to get ourselves a little bit higher than Renegades. And poor old Renegades for now, down to 2 hearts. Only 2 lives left for Australians. But again, still not out. I mean, anything could change. Maybe they chat up some of their friends on the other teams tonight over dinner. Be like, hey, listen, I'll buy you this Wiener Schnitzel if you make sure we don't have to play against Envy tomorrow.
Unfortunately for Renegades, they're the only team that's like not in the hotel together. They're elsewhere, so they've got no collaboration in the hotel lobby, which often happens in these tournaments. I'd like to point out.
Yeah. I would have really wanted to see Renegades play Train because they famously they had some good score lines on that map. So
Oh,
they beat Fnatic on Cash as well. Was it? I think it was.
Yeah. But anyway, it was that would have been exciting for me personally. But too bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, part of that is, of course, like we have the map votes somewhat influenced by popular vote from the community. It's still kind of a random selection, but then the fact that the winners also get to choose like who plays after the map, right? We saw that we talked to Katie about that. And he's like, well, I mean, TSM does really well on this map, so why not give them that chance?
For sure.
So who's next?
Yeah, it's going to be Mouse versus Envy.
You think? You think you're going to go with that? Like, TSM not going to be thinking, you know what? Let's just. I mean, it depends on the map, I guess.
They're playing for the win. Like, they want to win this tournament, so they want to make sure one of the other top dogs in the tournament is going to lose live here.
Could be. I mean, we will find out.
Any other theories here?
Very sure. Before I have a theory, but before I put my theory out, map vote is closing, ladies and gentlemen. So get your last votes in. But D-Man, what about you? Let's hear your theory.
So my theory is obviously they've got to look at what map gets drawn out. Now, if it's say Inferno, like, do they just want to take a life off Mousesports? Because you would assume Envy would win that matchup. But then if it's Train, could be a 50-50, in which case they definitely go for it. And then Cash, I mean, historically Envy were pretty good on that map, but Mousesports are really good on Cash as well. Yeah. So
but it's a bit of a coin flip with the Envy just changing lineup. So
I can say that COG actually believe they're playing next. like
So I was just about to say, why isn't? I mean, we could very well see SKCLG come up again.
Yeah, well, COG, I think it was Tarek or Hayes that just tweeted out, but as that match started, it said, guarantee we're playing the next match because of how this has happened with Renegades.
So they
feel they're already going to get picked on as well.
That could very well be, and depending on how that score turns out, that could write the rest of the story for the rest of today and, of course, tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, well, as the map vote has closed, it's time to find out what the map selection will be, and, of course, afterwards, which two teams will be put up on stage to fight for yet another heart on the scoreboard. On the stage with OJ.
Thank you very much, Choba. Let's indeed find out. First, though, Carrigan, a much happier man the last time I talked to you. A win must feel good.
It's really good. Like, we came into the tournament, we need to prove that APM 1 week ago was a complete disaster, so we had to redeem ourselves. But the first match was hard, and the second match was way better for us.
And you guys look like you're finding your groove again.
Yeah, I mean, Mirage is a better map for us, so it makes sense that it's harder to play Cobblestone where we really don't play it, so this is our own mistake, but sometimes some teams prefer other maps than the chosen maps.
And let's talk slightly about the politics that's involved in this whole tournament, because it's involved who you pick, how it works. Is there a Danish conspiracy going on?
No, I mean, like, you need to think it that way. If you put up the good teams all the time, in the end they are gonna get forced to play another good team. So it's like you need to also make different maps matchups. So we're gonna see what I'm gonna pick now.
So any chatter with SK Gaming, that's just you talking about pastries, talking about Copenhagen, stuff like that?
He said, see you later, he said to me in my ear before, so there's nothing going on.
Right then, well, I'll tell you what, let's find out what the map is going to play up here. What do you think, what would you like to turn over?
Inferno.
All right then, well, you choose one of these boxes, let's find out what's behind it.
Number 8.
He's going for number 8. It is a holiday for 5 in Inferno. He's chosen it. Thank you very much to L2 Bury, who chose that one. Let's see what else was up there. Remember, these are all voted for by the community. Cash is up there, Train, few Infernos as well. So the final match today is gonna be Inferno. Who are you gonna choose to play that match?
I'm gonna choose my good friend Gabi, Team Mousesports against Envious.
So it's Mousesport versus?
Envious.
Really? So 2 teams with 4 lives. Talk me through the thinking there.
I mean, both team has all 4 lives left, and you need to think ahead of the tournament. So if one of those teams lose their life, we're on the same page like we are today, 1-1.
So try and take down the big dogs.
What, sorry?
Try and take down the people who are the big dogs.
Exactly, trying to the big dogs, so we don't have to play them later stage.
Carrigan, you're the man. Thank you very much for your time. So there we go. We know who the teams are, we know what the map is, and we'll get straight into that after this break.